Hi, Little Justice Leaders. Today, I'm going to share 7 practical strategies you can use to create a school culture that is culturally affirming and sustaining. I'm Dr. Shelby Kretz. I'm the creator of Little Justice Leaders, and at Little Justice Leaders, we've worked with thousands of educators in schools to help create schools that are rooted in justice, belonging, and equity. And the strategies we're talking about today are strategies that I've seen work in diverse schools across the country and the world with real students. So these strategies will work whether you're in a small school, a large school, a public or private school, or anything in between. So let's get started with strategy number 1. Strategy number 1 is self-reflection. Now I know what you're thinking, it's always about self-reflection, but this is so important when we're thinking about building culturally affirming school cultures. As school leaders, our decisions and our biases shape everything that happens in our school. So it's super important to get to the root of any bias or just our background and experiences and how those might be impacting our decisions and how we're approaching leading the school. You will probably be surprised to learn just how much your background, your experiences, and your own schooling experiences impact the way you show up as a school leader or an educator. So I'm going to make this simple. Here's exactly how to do this. You're going to start a leadership journal where you can reflect on your daily leadership decisions. And here is what you're going to ask yourself. Who am I advocating for in this moment? Whose voices am I not hearing? What assumptions am I making? How does this decision connect to something in my background or my schooling? How might I be wrong? Now, even just asking yourself these questions alone can make a huge impact. But if you want to take it a step further, talk to other school leaders, whether those are your colleagues or colleagues from other schools and leaders in other local schools. Connect, talk, self-reflect together so you can start to learn from each other and also help each other spot biases or perspectives that you might not be seeing. Strategy number 2. Implement ongoing, culturally responsive professional development. This is where the work actually happens because we need everyone in the school to be on board and understanding what it looks like to build a culturally affirming school. Now, the key word here is ongoing. Most schools have done some kind of training around being culturally responsive or diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's great, but this work needs to keep happening. This is not a one-time learning experience. So implement an ongoing training program so that teachers are consistently having access to the tools, the resources, and the knowledge that they need to be able to help you in this journey of building a culturally affirming school culture. If you need help with that, I'll drop some links below about where you can find some ongoing culturally sustaining professional development that isn't going to break the budget. Strategy number 3, reviewing and revising school policies. So often our school policies are hiding bias that we don't realize is there, but our school policies shape everything that happens in the school. How we think about attendance, how we think about discipline, how we think about learning and growth and curriculum, all of these things come back to our policies. And these are the things that can make or break the school culture when it comes to feeling supportive and feeling culturally affirming for all kids and all families. So start with your discipline policy. Look at the data and see if you have discipline disparities between students of different genders, races, or backgrounds. Think about what assumptions are built into your behavior policies. Think about the culture that shaped your ideas of what good or bad behavior looks like. Think about the bias that teachers might be bringing to 2 different students with the same behavior. All of these things are going to shape the safety and connection that students and families feel to the school. So it's worth digging into policies. Now, this can be really overwhelming. So start with one policy at a time. Start with your discipline policy and think maybe of trying to do one policy review per month just to start to look and see if there might be some bias built in to any of the policies that exist. Strategy number 4, consider how you handle holidays and celebrations. Now, this might be a policy, so this might overlap with your policy review, but what do holidays and celebrations look like at your school? How do you ensure that all students are represented and that no students are feeling left out of the conversation? What holidays and celebrations do you lift up and which ones have you been ignoring? These are the kinds of questions you can reflect on in your leadership journal and also start to make really quick changes, because it's really easy to implement some kind of quick classroom celebrations for a certain holiday, or to think about doing more for celebration months of different cultures and backgrounds. So think about that and think about the small changes you can make right away that could make a big difference for representation and families feeling seen and valued in your space. Strategy number 5, create physical spaces that celebrate diversity. Walk through your school with fresh eyes. Start from going in the front doors, looking at what's on the wall. What do the decorations look like? What does the office look like? How does your space promote or not promote diversity? If there are languages your families speak, are those represented on the walls and in the materials that they're going to see when they walk into the school? If there are cultures, backgrounds, or experiences your students have, are those represented in the art or the featured projects that are on the walls? What messages does your physical space send to students and families about who belongs in this space and who it was created for? Now, this goes beyond just putting up a few posters, and the trick here is to let students represent themselves. So maybe one day you have all of the teachers do an art project where kids get to draw a picture of an experience that's important to them, or a celebration or a holiday or a family tradition that they love. And then we plaster those up all over the school. Now you've had your students actually tell you, show you, and create what's important to them that you can then put up and show for everyone else to see. This is such a beautiful and easy way to make sure that all of your students are represented and that they get to showcase the things that matter most to them. Strategy number 6 is all about engaging parents and caregivers. We know that caregivers are so important, and making sure our families feel like part of our community is a really important part of building a culturally sustaining school. This means really thinking about the voices, the perspectives, and the experiences of our students, families, and caregivers. I'll link some resources below, including a survey that you can send to families to find out what's most important to them and what they would want you to be highlighting. This is a really great starting point, and you'll want to continue asking yourself, how else can I center parent and caregiver voices in our decisions and in the way we approach learning? And strategy number 7, use a curriculum rooted in social justice. Now, this helps teachers so much to be able to bring culturally affirming principles and ideas directly into the classroom and the learning experiences that students are having. This means giving teachers the resources that they need to teach about topics of diversity, equity, and inclusion in age-appropriate ways for kids. This takes culturally affirming practices from the background of the school right into their learning experiences, so kids themselves can learn about justice, diversity, and action in a way that is meaningful and engaging for them. But of course, this requires resources for teachers. So again, I'll link some resources below for places on how you can get started. If this video was helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Little Justice Leaders and check out all the resources I've linked below so that you can get started with building a culturally affirming school today.